What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Hasbro's Masterpieces favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Hasbro Masterpiece Movie Bumblebee. This is like a joint thing with them and Takara, I believe. They're both credited on the box anyhow. This is on loan to me from Robert D, so I appreciate him letting me take a look at it. I think this is interesting on a number of levels, but we'll get there eventually. I'll talk about it real quick. There's no need to go into accessories because he only comes with one. And we'll just handle that as it comes, so to speak. But we have a nice roll to the unit. There's some yellow paint that's painted on the translucent pieces. It doesn't really match the regular yellow. It is a hybrid of yellows across the board, but it's not really that distracting, especially when it's not under harsh lights, I must admit. Black stripes are all painted on. They look nice. You got the Chevrolet kind of logo there in the front, and then the blinkers and Camaro are all painted on. And the brake lights and so forth, all that stuff is painted on, as is the license plate, I believe. Yeah, I think that's painted on. So yeah, it's not bad. And then size comparison wise, there he is with Tiger Tracks. So it's a bit out of scale in that regard, definitely. But it's not bad. Other than that, we have some silver painted on the wheels. Cleans up fairly nicely underneath, which brings us to our first accessory. Actually, first and only. And it's this bit of business that folds in. We have some silver paint on here, and then we have the yellow painted on the inside. The yellow could have used a second coat. It is barely covering the silver. Actually, let's just split it apart. Hope you can see that. Otherwise, I suppose it's fine. You got to untab these side windows and this door. It's all on one piece. And then you can flip this over to the other side. And I'll tell you, a couple things here move weird for me, but whatever, that's the way it is. You would expect that piece to tab in a bit better than what it does. There. We want to bring these arms out, and you can bring these tires around so that the arms can then come out. Open this piece up here and flip the hand out. That's a tight little tolerance there as well, and then this should capture that piece back again. Same on this side. And capture back again. And then you gotta take this piece out from the back. I do like the transformation of this overall, I must admit. And bring the head out and around, and then you got to adjust these little niblets here, and then we want to collapse all of this. That's not the best. How does this go? Oh yeah, like that. There. And then this folds up underneath the chest. Oh, these front pieces come in and around as well. There you go. This collapses, but before you do so, I would advise to get these pieces on their way up. These solidify the body, and they're a bit of a pain. They're the only part that I really find to be problematic. These two bars here collapse. This is die cast. So down, down, and peg in. Right. This pegs into the front as well. There we go. And then you got to get this piece in, and this is just not my favorite. So I'm going to do the best I can here while the camera's in front of me, and then I'm going to clean it up later. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get it. For the back, these sections come up and flip up rather. You can separate the legs, bring the heel spur down, and then you want to straighten the foot out. And that should be good. And then we want to take the wheel, flip it around. You can open this piece up here. And then bring this down. This helps solidify it's basically a heel spur. Like, even though it has this, it needs this. And then extend the leg. And then this piece comes over and tabs into there. And this piece folds up onto there. And then this, I think, is like that, maybe? I don't know. These Baybots, they just look like a, well, we'll talk about it. All right, so same thing here. Flip down this foot, straighten it out. And then we want to bring the wheel down. Capture that. Oh, I guess you got to bring this down first. And then capture. And then that's actually kind of smart because that keeps this piece here from really moving. So I'm okay with that. And then extend. Peg this in. Collapse that. And that's basically him. Whoa there, Nelly. I'll clean up and we'll take a look at him. Let me get that. I think it's like that. Okay, so real quick, let's go over the accessory storage. This can plug in here to the back. You know, I don't know if you can have it. Can you have it up as well? Yeah, so it's not the best. It's not the most. It's not the prettiest, I guess I should say, but you can do it. Then to use it as a weapon, just put his hand back into the forearm. And then leave this open, and you want these two pieces to tap back in, so it's got to go a particular way. And there you have that, which is fine. And the last kind of accessory we should mention that isn't really an accessory, but just an option, is lift this piece up. Be careful not to lift this piece up with it. This piece is on its own separate hinge, which can come down, cover down, and then this can fill in over top so you can have that look. I don't know. It's fine. It's good that they included it. So let's talk about the figure, which is what I really want to do. The one thing I noticed immediately is how lifeless the eyes are. Like, they really should have painted those. I don't know why they didn't. And there's no light piping or anything, so, or maybe there is. You know what? There might be. There is. And it's stupid. It's just this little U shape here that allows for light to come in, so most of the time it just ends up looking lifeless. Like, it's not a chug, it's a masterpiece that's treated as such. You know what I mean? That should have been sorted out. Articulation-wise, though, it's really good. And sculpt-wise, it's really good. And painted well. So you have some gunmetal paint on there. You have some yellow paint that doesn't match the other yellow, but it's fine. We have some silvers painted on the yellow. All that works well. We have the Autobot symbol there. You get a swivel and a hinge. So you get up to there, which I think is decent, down to there, and then the swivel. So it's articulated well. It's sculpted well. I just think they made a pretty big mistake with those eyes. These are on ball pegs if you want to maneuver them at all. I'm not sure if it counts as articulation, but we'll say it. The shoulders are another thing that kind of irritate me. I feel like they should have been able to lock in somehow. And maybe I don't have it right, but I don't know. At any rate, you can use the hinge here to get the shoulder up a little bit, and then you can also use this universal joint that this shoulder is built on to get it further up. So articulation-wise, it's not an issue. And then we do have this kind of flat gray and then silver painted on top, which does look good, and it gives it a little bit of depth. You get the swivel all the way around, so that's not an issue. You have a weird hinge here that's really useless, and then you have an elbow swivel, and then the elbow is a single hinge that gets you just about 90 degrees. The wrists are on swivels as well, and then the fingers are not individually articulated, but the thumb is and the forefinger is, or the pointer finger, right? And then you have a hinge here and a hinge here. So 2 hinges on 2 knuckles, and then these 2 digits, I guess, are all together, which I think is fine. And then the silver detailings come through here on this yellow piece well enough. Same for the other side, except we still have the gun on. I do have a problem with this gun kind of staying locked together, but maybe with a little bit more familiarity with it, I could be better at it. But I don't know. Actually, this is all... Oh, so this piece here is gray and silver painted on, because you can see the yellow underneath. It just makes me think of Marvel Legends, which is fine. Okay, so we have a waist swivel. No problems there, even with all this kind of junk in the trunk, so to speak, or on the hips, rather. And then we have the hips themselves, which are universal joints, and they're ratcheted. It does have this kind of thing here that you have to account for. You can probably maneuver it. Yeah, you can maneuver it to get the leg all the way out, so that's not an issue. More than all the way forward, so no problems there. All the way back, and the ratchets are well done. So kudos to them for that. There's some silver details added along the way, and then we have a thigh swivel, single jointed ratcheted knee, which gets you just about 90 degrees. I think we should give it to them. And then we have these ankles here, which you have a tilt up, which is good, a tilt down, which is good, and this piece here acts as a rocker, so the ankle doesn't rock, but the toe rocks it, but it'll pull off the pose, so ultimately I think it's good enough. And then we have this bit here, which I wanted to touch on. I can't tell if that's paint, gunmetal paint on this area, or if it's dry brush, but either way it looks good. And also, to be fair, if you were to dry brush some of these silver bits, it would probably look great. Just to zoom in real quick, we have that detail painted on as well, the license plate, which is cool. A nice thought. So, yeah, it works. It works surprisingly well. It's not without issue, but it works surprisingly well. There's the back of it, which I guess is clean. You know, these aren't my favorite designs. They kind of look like piles of parts. Well, I do have one favorite design. I can't remember his name. I like this guy, whichever one this one is. Can't remember his name. This is a movie bot, isn't it? And there he is with a Masterpiece car and with Masterpiece Bumblebee, and I think that's a decent size. Final thoughts wise, I think there's a couple issues here that we need to talk about. There's some tolerance issues with the way some of the joints move. They're just not fully accounted for, and as a result, it makes you feel like you're putting too much tension on pieces, and it doesn't have those good feels, if you know what I'm saying. The other thing is, I wish that the shoulders there's a couple things here that I wish kind of locked in place a little bit better. I wish the shoulders kind of locked into a place a little bit better. I wish that this tire bit and this all solidified just a taste more. And also the car mode, Robert pointed out to me that there's very panely, and that is true. It doesn't really bother me, but I think it is something worth noting. But all in all, I think they did a great job. I like the transformation for the most part. If everything moved a bit smoother, I would like it even better, but this is their first attempt, so I think they deserve a little bit of a pass. At least, it is their first attempt Hasbro-wise. I think they nailed the aesthetic. It's not my cup of tea, but I think they got it right. And I think getting the aesthetic right of these movie bots is difficult because they just look like a pile of gears and pistons and moving parts and scrap metal and etc. So I think that's a challenging thing to kind of achieve, and I think they did it pretty well. The articulation works like a champ, and I think it has a strong presence and cleans up well, I guess, for what it is. It cleans up well in the sense that it looks the part, and it doesn't look like it added any extra kind of clunkiness to an already clunky design. I like the ratchets in the hips and in the knees. I wish there were some in the shoulders, but I think the materials and hardware and all that are pretty effective. So all in all, I think it's a pretty decent piece. There's a few things that if they would have done those, it would have made it like a fantastic piece, but I think it's definitely worth a purchase if this is your thing. So if you're into the movie bots, if you're into Bumblebee, if you're into Transformers or whatever, if you're into this kind of design, I can't tell you a reason not to get it. There's a couple things that are a little weird about it. There's a couple things that are a little tricky about it. There's a couple things that don't really live up to the Masterpiece expectation about it, but none of those things take away from the overall playability of the toy and fun factor. So yeah, I think it's worth it if you're into it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.